Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers best bet or daily package for only $2.
Welcome in, guys. Welcome back right here to Wager Talk TV. We are back on Puck Time better than ever for the 2021-2022 NHL season. I'm Andrew McInnis. Carmine and I will be back in the host chair, having a new guest every single day on the show. We're going to have best bets, free picks, promos, all of that during the shows. Today we have two games to talk about. We have Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh and the Golden Knights and the newly joined Seattle Kraken. And some best bets at the end. Also some future plays, as we only have two plays today, or two games on the board. We'll have some future plays to go over, and we all have a different play to give you guys. But I want to bring in Carmine. We've been super excited. We've been chatting all summer. Hockey's back, Carm.
Hockey is back. It couldn't come at a better time. I'm super excited for this new season. We are back to normal. Really, it's the first time we can say this in probably at least a couple years. A couple shortened seasons because of COVID, but fans are back in the arenas, most of them at full capacity, and it's going to be a great season. It's bringing some normalcy back into our lives. I think if you're a puck fan, you're absolutely jacked about this new season starting in a couple games to kick it off tonight. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Buster, let's bring it into you, man. Welcome you back to the show. How are you doing?
I'm great, Andrew. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm quite happy to be on my Tuesday spot here, and it's great that I get to do opening day. Have my Habs shirt on. Everybody knows I only wear this when I do for the playoffs, but because of what happened last year, I just wanted to honor the Habs because I got a funny feeling by game 82, we'll be fighting to try to get that last playoff spot again. So great to have. Looking forward to the season. 82 games, fans in all the buildings. Going to be a lot of underdog winners, and that's right up my forte. So.
Looking forward to it, guys. Well, we are back, and let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into the first game. We have the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Our first matchup, Tampa Bay hefty favorites here at home, minus 245. Pittsburgh to their side, plus 195. Total on the game is 6 here. And I want to start with this, guys. Tampa Bay, back-to-back Cup champions. After getting swept by Columbus in the first round a few years ago, they have not looked back since. They are absolutely crushing it right now, and they haven't really gotten too much worse. They knew their team wasn't going to be the exact same. There was the controversy and all that going on last year about how they were over the salary cap. They had some players on the IR throughout the season that came back in the playoffs. But when it comes down to it, Tampa Bay were a very talented team, and they picked up some key pieces in the offseason. They're still going to be a great team. So I'm going to ask these guys about this theory, but I'm not really a huge Stanley Cup hangover theory type person. Same thing in the NBA, same thing in the NFL. I don't really like that expression. I feel like it's very much so overused. And of course, Tampa Bay will be raising their banner tonight, and I feel as if they will be motivated to have a great game in front of their home fans. Looking at this game, as far as the Pittsburgh Penguins go, they'll be without their star center, Sidney Crosby, also second line center, Evgeny Malkin. So we all know how talented this Pittsburgh Penguins team is, but right now they are incredibly shorthanded. Their top line is Denton Heinen, Jeff Carter, and Brian Rust. Right now they are injury-ridden, and I am not really a fan of this team right now. And goaltending, we saw it last year in the playoffs, guys. It's hard to trust this team with their goaltending right now. Defensive mistakes really hurt them last year in the playoffs against the New York Islanders. You know, I'm looking at Tampa Bay here on the puck line, minus 1.5 at plus 110 odds. You know, I don't believe in a Stanley Cup hangover. I believe they'll start this year off on a great note. They are a relatively healthy team, and I'm looking towards Tampa here on the puck line for my first play on Puck Time here for the new season. Carm, I'll throw it to you for your thoughts on this game here.
Tampa Bay puck line, boom! Andrew comes out, drops the mic on that one, and he's going for it, and I love it. And listen, it's an 82 game schedule, Andrew. We know that unlike the NFL, unlike a sport where a loss at the beginning of the season or a couple losses at the beginning of the season really hurts your playoff chances. In an 82-game season, there's a ton of time to recover. And you mentioned it. This Pittsburgh team is obviously missing some key parts, at least to start the season. You've got Crosby out, back on the ice now, but with wrist injury, he's not going to play in these first 2 games against Tampa and on Thursday against Florida. But they return home for like an 8-game homestand. He'll be there, whether it's the first game of that homestand or somewhere into that homestand. He'll be back. Obviously, Guntzel with COVID, Malkin, at least a couple months, I think it is, on IR. So those are 3 big pieces of the puzzle. An interesting stat is since 2006, 2007, the Pittsburgh Penguins have played without Malkin and Crosby out of the lineup at the same time 52 times. Their record in those 52 games, 31, 15, and 6. But this is also at a time where they were a very deep team. So it might be a little different at the moment with this team. And goaltending is obviously a big issue. We'll see what Jari can do for this team. And then you look at Tampa, it's banner night, and everyone always talks about a team that wins a championship. How will they play on that opening night where they lift the banner? But the last 5 years of teams on banner nights, 3 wins and 2 OT games. One of those was last year where Tampa beat the Chicago Blackhawks 5-1 on banner night. And Andrew made that point of last year's, as far as last year's salary cap in the playoffs. It's a rule. People didn't like it, but in the playoffs, the salary cap does not come into play. So Kucherov out all year, returns healthy for the playoffs. But a lot of offseason moves for this team because of that salary cap. You look at Blake Coleman gone to Calgary, Yanni Gourde off to Seattle. You have Barclay Goodrow, the Rangers, Tyler Johnson to Chicago to make room for some cap space. They lost pretty much their complete checking line in the offseason. But this is, for no better words, this is a dynasty team. You have to admit it. 2 cups in a row. The year previous, they were the President's Trophy winners, but got upset by the Columbus Blue Jackets. This is a very good Tampa team. I expect them to be right there again. They don't need to win the President's Trophy. Last year, they finished 3rd in their division, went on to win the Cup. Position yourselves. This is what they'll do. And Tampa will be another healthy team come playoff time again. But I have to agree with Andrew on the puck line here. Guys, before I send it to Buster for his thoughts on this game, I just want to mention a quick promo for Andrew and I. As hosts of Puck Time, you get 30 days of NHL All Access. That's every play for 30 days, including 5% plays for only $149 when you use coupon code PT30 at checkout. You get $30 off the regular price of $179. That's a fantastic deal. It literally works out to about $5 a day for 30 days. Buster, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, give me your thoughts.
Well, guys, you guys actually went through all the stuff that I can stand to. Tampa Bay's raising that banner tonight. You know that arena is going to be electric. As far as Pittsburgh, yeah, all their guys are out. Crosby, Gensel, Malkin. I'll mention a couple other guys that they lost.
Buster, let's get a quick refresh from you. Quick refresh button. We'll go right back to you. Just want you to meet people to know that they can get your thoughts and your words. I know it can be frustrating, Buster. Trust me, I know it can be frustrating. Quick refresh. We'll go right back to you. I think we have Buster again, but just a quick refresh. I want people to be able to hear your thoughts, Buster.
Sorry, guys. Again, it's quick refreshes here, I guess, until something gets figured out on my end. I'm not sure what. Anyways, I was saying how I agree with you guys. Tampa lost them along with.
We're gonna have to go back to you, Buster. We're gonna have to go back to you for the next segment. I'm really sorry. I don't know what to do here. It's out of our control here. Close the whole browser out and try and log back in. But Carm, before we wrap things up on this game, I want to ask you real quick, do you have any thoughts on the total? You and I have laid out, we like the puck line, Tampa Bay raising the banner to get the job done. The live chat room is here, Pop, and we appreciate them as well. They're loving Tampa Bay. What do you think about the total in this game?
Yeah, first, apologies to the guys watching this, whether it's live or later on the audio issues. We will get those fixed. First show of the season, so this stuff tends to happen. I'll tell you what, I remember last season, the Tampa Bay Chicago game, the banner raising game, the total in that game was 7.5. 6.5. And people thought this is going to be a high scoring game. There's going to be a ton of goals in this game. They're raising the banner. Chicago is a bad defensive team that can score, go over the total, and it finished 5-1, and it barely got there, or it didn't get there, but it barely got to 6 goals in that game. So I don't think it's an automatic, Andrew, in this game that this game goes over the total. This could very well, with the talent that's missing for this Penguin side, this could very well stay under the total. It could still be a similar game, a 4-1 or even a 4-2 game that pushes the total. I wouldn't want to touch the total in this game as far as going over the total.
Let's move on to our next game, guys. We have the Seattle Kraken, Las Vegas Golden Knights going head-to-head here. How fitting is it Seattle Kraken open up their season, their inaugural season, against the Las Vegas Golden Knights, obviously the two newest teams to the National Hockey League. Seattle plus 210, Las Vegas minus 260 on the money line. Total sits at 5.5 in this game. And I think we can all agree, guys, that Seattle took a little bit of a different style in their expansion draft than Las Vegas did. Now, I'm curious to see how it works out for them, curious to see how their team plays out and what kind of style they choose to play on the ice. But I'll tell you one thing, guys. I expect them to be a very tough team to play against and kind of play towards the under. But I don't really see much scoring coming out of them. Buster, can we get your thoughts on the Seattle and Las Vegas matchup?
Hopefully we do have me here, Andrew. It's funny.
Good.
It's funny how this thing works. We sat for 20 minutes all talking before the show, discussing things, no problem. First segment, no problem, and it goes. So I don't understand. Sorry, everybody watching. I know it's as frustrating to me as it is to you guys not getting to hear what I have to say, or maybe actually works out better for you guys. So who knows? As far as this game, it's going to be very, very interesting to watch Seattle play this year. I'm looking forward to it. Problem for them tonight, got a lot of COVID problems. 5 guys are going to be out, and that Yanni Gord is going to be out. He's injured, so not in trouble for them. It'll be also interesting to see how many games Philip Grubauer steals this year, because he's going to steal a bunch. That's what's going to happen. Seattle's going to be one of these grinding teams, and but tonight might not be the night because you get Vegas at home. Vegas, they're hoping it's going to be this is going to be their year that they win the cup. They've got everybody kind of in place. Big disappointment to the fans of Vegas for Fleury gone. I know it's a huge disappointment, but the move probably had to be made. I hate to say it. In this game here, I just have to believe that Vegas is going to be too much. It's going to be problematic for Seattle to have a bunch of guys hurt, and we just we'll take Vegas minus 1.5. I think it's minus 110.
Buster going with Vegas minus 1.5, minus 110, and I can't blame you, Buster. It's a new team. It's a kind of an inexperienced team, really, and obviously they have to find that chemistry still. The preseason, the NHL exhibition, that's not enough time to gather cohesion and line chemistry and to figure out what your coaching staff wants you to do. It's not enough time, and Vegas looking to start this year off on a huge note. Obviously falling a little bit short last year in the playoffs to our Montreal Canadiens, Buster. Carmine, it's a new team. I want to get your thoughts. You and I haven't spoken about this before on their expansion draft. Let me know what you thought about their draft and how you think they'll fare starting the season out.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this is just how that the draft went about. We saw what the Vegas Golden Knights did in their inaugural season, where they finished with 109 points. But in the draft itself, they had a very good draft, a little different for Seattle. And I think it's more the NHL teams adjusting to what Vegas did in that draft to sort of shuffle around their players, protect some players. It made it a little more difficult on this Seattle Kraken team to pick up some very good players, but they still had a very good free agency. You look at some of the players they picked up: Jaden Schwartz, Mark Giordano, Jordan Eberle, Adam Larson, also Wenberg, Johansson. So they did pick up some good players on this team, but it's like you mentioned before. I think this is one of those they're not going to have the successful season that the Golden Knights had. I think it's going to be more of a struggle. It's because of the cohesiveness of this team and trying to get these players to play together. It's going to be a little different for the Seattle team. I think they're going to struggle. They may have, initially they may play some very good hockey at the beginning of the season, but this is before teams get sort of into full flight, which I expect at some point this Vegas team to do. Speaking of Vegas, there's a lot of chatter about Vegas and some of the changes of this team. Obviously, Marc-Andre Fleury gone in Chicago. Another sort of character guy and some toughness gone in Ryan Reeves. But this is still a good Vegas team. They need a center. And who knows down the line, there's still the rumors of where will Jack Eichel go. He would be a beautiful fit in Vegas. I don't think that's going to happen because I think he wants to stay in New York, but I would love to see him in a Vegas uniform. But you look at this Vegas team, and I think they got the better of the two Western Conference divisions. If you look at those divisions, there's one that's super tough with a lot of good teams in there, the Avs and the Wild, to name a couple of them. But they're in a division with the Sharks, the Kings, the Kraken, the Oilers, the Flames, the Canucks, and Ducks. I think at the end of the day, it's not about Vegas winning the division, which I think they'll eventually do. It's just position yourself into a spot to make the playoffs and then go from there. Long gone are the days where you need to win the President's Trophy to win the Cup or have home ice throughout. We saw it last year. You don't need home ice to win a Cup. And we've seen it the last few years, although a couple of them obviously are COVID-related years. But this is still a very good Vegas team. I will get to a season best bet regarding them. But as far as tonight's game goes, with the issues in Seattle, and I just don't see a lot of scoring coming from that team, the 5.5 under just looks like the play to me here. You've got to lay a bit of juice on it, unfortunately, but I think that's the play here, under 5.5 in tonight's game.
I'm right there with you, Carmine, on that under. And, we don't always love to look at a minus 130 for a total. I always say the greatest part about playing totals, and I'm a huge totals player, is that you're usually getting these minus 110s or minus 115s. In this instance, of course, it's minus 130. It's anywhere around that ballpark, but it's rightfully so. And, when I've looked at this roster for the Kraken, pretty much all my breakdowns and my thoughts have just been, just like any other expansion team I've known at any level of hockey, the goal for the GM and the goal for the coach is to be tough to play against, to be physical. They're going to be a lot more conservative. They're going to play the trap, so to speak. If, for lack of better words, guys, expansion teams just don't want to get embarrassed. They would rather, keep a game low scoring and limit their own scoring and play more defensive than for the game to be back and forth and them lose the game, 6-1. So I'm right there with Carmine on the under in this game. But two heavy favorites on the slate here to start things off here on the first game. But tomorrow we have plenty of games to discuss. But guys, we are going to jump into some future wagers. All three of us have a future selection picked out for today and for the NHL season. I'm going to start with my future wager on the season, and I'm looking at the Vancouver Canucks to win their division. And when you look at this division and you take a look, I believe it's a lot softer than some might believe. And that Seattle Kraken are in their division. And we're going to break down this division real quick. And it's the Pacific Division with the Ducks, Flames, Oilers, Kings, Sharks, Kraken, Canucks, Golden Knights. So Canucks to make the playoffs is plus 175. That is very widely available right now across the board. First of all, I'll start with this. Top three teams in the division make the playoffs, and then it starts getting into a wild card scenario. I believe the Vancouver will finish in the top three in this division. Take a look at the Golden Knights. We know how talented they are. Then it's the Edmonton Oilers. And then for me, right after the Oilers, it is the Vancouver Canucks. I believe the Calgary Flames are overrated. They have sloppy defense. They have kind of a softer team up front. Not too much grit. And I still worry about their goaltending. I think it's improved, obviously, but, through an 82-game schedule with the injury problems that they've had, I'm a little bit concerned. And for a Vancouver team, picking up a guy like Connor Garland from an Arizona club that, If you play on Arizona, you don't get noticed as much for obvious reasons. Smaller market, not as skilled of a team, but they're really talented. So, or he's very talented. Connor Garland can score. He'll be a great fit for the Vancouver Canucks. Look at a guy like Dickinson they picked up from the Stars, one of the most top two-way players in the league, almost led the league in takeaways last year. And they have a great mixture of youth, experience, and solid stay-at-home defensemen. So looking at Vancouver, guys, plus 175 to make the playoffs this year in the Pacific Division. I believe this price is nowhere near where it should be. Looking at the Canucks to have a great season and squeak into a playoff spot. I'm going to throw it back to Carmine for his future wager on the season this year.
All right. Yeah. We talked about the Vegas Golden Knights in that game against the Seattle Kraken. And listen, their points total, I'm a little confused by their points total, to be honest with you. Their season points total right now is 105.5 points for this Vegas team. And I talked about the division that they're in, and I think it is the softer of the two divisions. But again, it's about positioning themselves for a playoff spot. I just don't see them going over 105.5 points. You look at their season totals, and a couple of them are skewed, but we're looking at their very first season, which was their breakout first inaugural year, where they finished with 109 points, had a fantastic season. And then from there, the 18-19 season, they finished with 93 points. In a 71-game shortened schedule because of COVID in 1920, they finished with 86 points. And last season, in the 56-game schedule, they finished with 82 points in the 2021 season. I think 105.5 points is a lot for this team to get in, even with this division. I just don't think they'll get to that number. So under 105.5 points, regular season points for the Vegas Golden Knights is going to be my season best bet. I think it's a good one, and you guys should take advantage of it. Don Buster, I know you've got some a little bit of Wi-Fi issues, but give us your thoughts, my friend.
Yes, a little bit of Wi-Fi issues. It's normal for, we had them all year, so no sense changing the beginning of this year. I do have a futures play myself. It's going to be Carolina to win the East. Now, to me, they're getting great value at plus 850. Now, going back to divisions, that's really helped Carolina. Now that they won't be playing Tampa or Toronto, Boston. They'll get a lot of games with teams that they can beat. And again, to me, I think this line should be about plus 500. They have Toronto. Yes, they have Toronto at plus 500. That makes no sense to me. I get it as throwing that out there because there's so many people that are on Toronto. They'll be betting that. So I understand why the odds makers do this. But then that gives us a nice value on Carolina plus 850. Now, I know they lost Hamilton. They got rid of some goaltenders. And how ironic will it be that Carolina wins the East with Frederik Andersen in net? He won't have to do a lot of work this year. Right? They've got a solid defenseman core there. He's not going to face 40, 50 shots a game like he did in Toronto. He's going to get some help too. So I think he's going to have a super year. And of course, Carolina, in my opinion, they might have the three best lines in the NHL, putting all three together. Guys with Aho and Trocheck and Niedermeyer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They have three great lines, solid defense. And I think and if they can win the President's Trophy or at least win the top of I lost my father. As long as they can be one of the most point getter before they go to the playoffs, that's at the top of the East, they'll have that home ice advantage, and that could be huge in Carolina, especially now that we're going to have full arenas. So give me Carolina plus 850. To be the representative in the Stanley Cup final.
Awesome. Love it. I love both those picks there. Let's recap the future wagers on the screen here from all of us here on the show. I'm looking at Vancouver to make the playoffs, plus 175. Carmine, Las Vegas, under 105.5 points on the season. And Buster, Carolina to win the Eastern Conference at plus 850. Great price there, Buster. for the Hurricanes. And I agree with you. It'd be pretty funny if Freddie Anderson takes them all the way to the Eastern Conference or to the Cup Finals. Guys, before we jump into best bets on the show, I do want to give out a coupon code for all of us here on the show and every hockey handicapper that you will see on Puck Time this season. Right now at WagerTalk.com, you can find our NHL season passes for $699. These coupon codes are only being given out on this show, so we appreciate all of you guys for tuning in or listening via podcast form. Take $200 off our full season of NHL using the coupon code PuckTime200. That's PuckTime200 for $200 off our entire season of NHL action. Join us, guys. All of our subscriber plays, private plays at WagerTalk.com and Buster over at SportsMemo.com. Carmine, I want to throw it to you for your best bet here on the show. Only 2 games to start off here on Puck Time, but tomorrow it's a big slate. Lots more options for best bets. What do you have for us today for your best bet?
Yeah, a ton of games going on tomorrow. So as we progress through the week and through the season, there'll be a lot more options for us to give out. And there was a good start last year and throughout the season on these best bet segments for me specifically. But I'm going to say to you, because we've always talked about this in chat really quickly, is some guys don't like betting totals. They're like, give us a side. Guys, the sides are just big favorites tonight. And even though I like both sides, I cannot give you a team and say play Vegas minus 280 or what have you, even if I think they're going to win the game. For me, it's kind of bad money management of how I look at games and play games. With that said, I'm going back to what I discussed in the Seattle and Vegas game. I'm going to look for a lower scoring game in this one. So I'm going to stay under the total of 5.5 goals as the show best bet. And again, just want to thank the guys who are tuning in. We have a lot of familiar faces. Puck Time has one of the best viewing audiences. I absolutely love you guys. Follow us on pucktime.wt Twitter and Carmine Bianco WT. I will be doing a bunch of giveaways this year along with Andrew McInnis on Puck Time shirts. So a bunch of contests. Follow us on Twitter.
Thanks a lot, Carmine. And yes, guys, give us a follow at PuckTimeWT on Twitter. Lots of content, free picks, and promos there. Buster, like I said, it's a short card, but what do you have for us? Last year, a lot of plus money winners you gave us on the show. What can you have for us for tonight?
Well, Andrew, last year when we started with these first period minus half, we actually were on fire. Then we kind of hit a rough spot, and actually near the I think it was near the end of the year. I think we lost probably about 12 in a row or so. So again, these are plays that I think there's lots of value to them, and you're getting plus money. And that's I do a lot of underdog betting, a lot of short favorite betting. So that's what I do. So tonight, with Tampa Bay raising that banner and the arena being electric, with Pittsburgh missing basically almost every offensive player that can put the puck in the net, we're going to take Tampa Bay minus a half, first period, plus 125. Pretty good play. So that's what I like there. And I just want to, because I didn't get to say too much about the Tampa Bay game, I want to just tell everybody, just as like Carmine says, a lot of guys don't like betting totals and that. But this year, the NHL, I just want to quickly state this, the referees are supposed to really be calling the cross-checking. So all that cross-checking that you see in front of the net that the guy's hammering the guys and they never call, supposedly this year, the NHL has made a mandate that these things are going to be penalties. So just early, watch and see what happens with these plays, because you might see a lot of goals being scored because there's going to be a lot more penalties being called. So just keep track of that. Best of luck with everybody, and we're really happy that the NHL is starting up.
That is a great point, Buster. That's a point I wanted to bring up as well. It'd be interesting to see how it impacts the totals market and how things fluctuate, because teams with great power plays are definitely going to succeed if they're getting those power plays a lot more often than they were last year. I'm going to stick with the Tampa Bay Lightning as well on the puck line here. I have it listed as plus 130, but it is now down to plus 110. And look, guys, Carmine listed that great stat about the way that the Penguins have played with both Crosby and Malkin out of the lineup. But like he said, that's when they had a much deeper lineup. I don't believe they have the depth they once had. Having these two key guys out the lineup is huge. And Tristan Jarry versus Vasilevsky goaltending matchup, I think you guys know who I'm taking here. It's going to be Tampa Bay minus 1.5 here on the puck line. Once again, guys, that coupon code PuckTime200 takes $200 off any hockey handicapper across both websites. $200 off the regular $699. Thank you guys so much for watching our very first episode of the season. We'll recap the power plays here. We have Don Buster back with the first period specials. First period for Tampa Bay, -0.5 plus 125. Carmine with Seattle Vegas, under 5.5, -130. And I'm on Tampa Bay, -1.5 at plus 110. On behalf of Carmine Bianco, Don Buster, I am Andrew McInnis. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. WagerTalk TV.
Are you tired of games of the year and 100-unit locks? If so, check out the professional handicappers at WagerTalk.com today. We leave all that nonsense for the other guys. And for a limited time, new users get their first daily picks purchase up to $40 for only $1. $1? Whose idea was that? Johnny Detroit? I guess so. To redeem this special, just go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper and their picks package using coupon code TRYWagerTalk when checking out.